course, when it comes to the game, being considered the favorite means next to nothing.
Good snap, clean hole, got it up, and good. And Michigan, who shocked the college football world.
This is why you come to Michigan. Right here, guys like this. Win this game. 3-0. Let's go, baby.
It means everything. You know, being a Michigan Wolverine, you know it's about that game. You know your whole livelihood depends on that game each and every season.
You know, losing that game, it hurts. You know, it's been 3 years in a row for me losing. So, you know, this year you got to find a way to win. Figure it out.
Ford looks, fires, intercepted.
The pride that people take in that game is huge, and to be a part of it is something special.
I said I wasn't going to lose to them for the next 2 years. That's what I stand on.
You have to play with emotion, but you can't let it play with you, and you have to learn to use it as nitrous, not as a primary fuel source. Like I say, fun is kicking ass, and that's what we want to do on Saturday.
I love that. That's about as far as you'll hear Ryan Day go. Jerry, it's been 6 calendar years since Ohio State beat Michigan. It is hard to believe. Clearly, one of those years, the game wasn't played because of COVID. But when you think about the grip right now that Michigan has on Ohio State, you have to start with the mindset of these two teams before you get on the field. Let's start with Michigan and the confidence that Sharon Moore and the Wolverines have to be coming into this game with. It's at home, even though they are considered by everybody outside their locker room to be underdogs. That was the case last year as well, and they got the job done.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, last year I think took us all by surprise. But there's motivation for Michigan. Obviously, first of all, they're playing at home and they have an attitude. Ohio State's not coming into our house and going to beat us. They've got an attitude about this would be how sweet would 5 in a row be. And I think the other thing Michigan thinks, Rick, is, hey, we're a tougher team. We win by the run. Our opponent, Ohio State, wins by the pass. So there's plenty of motivation, not even talking about the CFP and everything else. If you just take this game individually, both teams have a lot to be motivated by.
Well, the Ohio State aspect, Jerry, to me is even more fascinating because we just heard from Ryan Day. He's the defending national championship head coach, yet he can look at everybody inside that locker room and say, there are 2 things that you've never done. And they're 2 very big boxes to check if you're an Ohio State football player.
Right. Now, no coach will ever talk about revenge. I happen to think that if you played Pink's song, Revenge, in the locker room all week, it would be a great motivational tool. But aside from that, there's a tired argument with Ohio State, and we've talked about this, I think, ever since the network started, that beating Michigan is more important than winning the national championship. That's how the fans feel. We found out last year that the players don't feel that way. They feel like the national championship is more important than any single game. But having said that, Rick, you've already said it. What this team hasn't done, they won the national championship, a lot of the guys on this team. What they haven't done is they haven't beat Michigan, obviously. And that's something that they get gold pants for when they win. So everyone's talking about we want gold pants. And the other thing they can't say, Rick, is that they haven't won the Big Ten championship. So there's plenty of motivation for both these teams. The Ohio State coming to Ann Arbor, obviously that's even more difficult than beating them at home. And we know what happened last year.
Oh, yes, we do. And the players that were on the field most certainly do. So let's focus on the field. Let's start with this Michigan offense because obviously one of the storylines is Bryce Underwood, a true freshman. This is the first time that he'll ever play in the game, and he's doing so against a defense, Jerry, that has been nothing short of historically good in 2025.
Yeah, so I see the game plan rolling out like this, Rick. Michigan wants to stay on schedule on first down. Now, staying on schedule means that you gain 4 or more yards, and that puts you ahead of the stakes, especially with a young quarterback. If Michigan can do that against a really, really good Ohio State offense, 50% or more of the time, that will be the key for the offense. If they get behind and down in distance, then they're going to have to depend on their freshman quarterback, Bryce, and that's where pass protection versus a really good defensive front of Ohio State will come in. So stay on schedule. If you get behind and down in distance, maybe you have to max protect because Matt Patricia is going to bring it probably on most third and medium to long situations.
You know, Sharon Moore was asked about that very scenario during his press conference this week, Jerry, and he said, I'm not scared. If Bryce Underwood has to throw it 25 or 30 times to win this game, we're comfortable with him throwing it 25 or 30 times. Do you think that's just coach speak, or do you think Michigan actually maybe really feels that way if it comes down to it?
Well, I think that they know he's improved since the beginning of the season, and he really has made drastic improvement. I think that's a way Sharon can build his confidence. I mean, if you're Bryce and you hear your head coach say that in a press conference or in the print media, I mean, it has to make you feel good. I don't think either team wants this thing to be entirely on each quarterback. There's too many other storylines to this team. So I don't know that isn't just Sharon trying to give Bryce Underwood more confidence.
All right, so let's go, Jerry, now to the other side of the football, because we have this Ohio State offense that has two of the best receivers in all of college football in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. They've sat out the last couple of weeks. They are expected to be healthy. Both are expected to play. We know that Wink Martindale, the DC from Michigan, likes to bring pressure. We also know that Ohio State has struggled a little bit in the run game this year. What does that mean to you when you add it all together and you start to think about how Brian Hartline will design this Ohio State offense against the Michigan D?
Right. So the issue has been during the year, the run game for Ohio State. And Rick, we talked about this on Countdown to Kickoff. I wasn't worried about the lack of run game by Ohio State early in the year. I was a little concerned that in short yardage and goal line, they weren't going to be good enough if the game came down to short yardage, goal line, and red zone. But no game really has come down to that. This game sets up to perhaps coming down to that. And they've struggled on the goal line and short yardage in games that they won handily. So that would be a red flag for the Ohio State group to make sure that they're really good in those situations. You know, the other thing I think that when you talk about Wink Martindale on defense, you know, there's no slowing down this pass offense if they can take 5 steps, quarterback takes 5 steps, hits his back foot and throws it. So I don't think that Michigan wants to pressure him because it might be too easy to give up a big play. What seems to make sense to me is to disguise your coverage so that Julian's saying he can't come back on that last step and throw it. It's not man coverage. It's not zone coverage. It's not the same coverage that I saw when the ball was snapped. I think that might be a way to slow down the aggressive pass game of Ohio State. I don't think it's about covering or pressuring. I think it's about disguising the coverages, that it's different after the snap than Julian sees before the snap.
And listen, Michigan does have some good pass rushers. They don't necessarily have guys like Aiden Hutchinson and David Ajabo, who a couple of years ago basically spent the entire game in the Ohio State backfield. And I'm glad you bring up Julian Sayin. We're talking about him as a Heisman favorite. Yes, but this is also, like Bryce Underwood, this is his first go-round in the game. He may not be the true freshman, but he's never played against Michigan. He's never played in these stakes. He's never played inside the big house. All those things will come true on Saturday, noon Eastern, in Ann Arbor.